What's going on, everyone? In today's video, self-explanatory, we're going to be predicting the divisional round for the NFL. And before we do that, we're going to go over the wild card. I went 5-1 and actually got an exact score. I'll get to that in a minute. And the curse wheel team for this week is the New England Patriots. And if you don't want to know what that is, I'll explain it later. But yeah, here it is. That's my font. I did it in that video. So yeah. You know, if you, for some reason you don't believe me, I guess you could go back and look at the video. But, you know, it's always nice to get score predictions. It makes you feel like you truly know ball. So, yeah, that was fun. We'll see if we can do it again this week. And ironically, the first game we'll be talking about is the Bills taking on the Broncos. The Bills, as I literally just mentioned, beat the Jags 27-24. And the Broncos had a bye week. And this, along with a lot of other games in this divisional round, anything can happen. Like, I wouldn't be shocked at any teams winning this because every single game is close. I feel like every single game is going to be close, or has the potential to be close, rather. I mean, obviously, you can't literally predict what's going to happen, but, you know, for the most part, you can basically make your assumptions. And as I just mentioned, the Bills beat the Jags, things showed up, you know, all that good stuff. Yeah, so Broncos and Bills, you know, I'm a Broncos fan. It's gonna be really hard to pick against my team, and I'm not going to. I mean, they are favored by 1.5 points. They weren't favored, but now they are. I guess they changed their mind or whatever. 39 degrees Fahrenheit, not a super cold game. Kind of warm for Denver, honestly, for considering that it's January. But yeah, I mean, this game could go either way. You know, if you pick the Bills, it's because you think Josh Allen's going to will his team to victory. And if you pick the Broncos, you pick the team that is more talented and has a significantly better defense. So you can't really go wrong with either pick, but I'm a Broncos fan. I am not picking against the Broncos in the playoffs until proven otherwise. So yeah, give me the Broncos. And I think the score is going to be 24-21. All right, in our other Saturday game, we got the 49ers taking on the Seahawks. This game's going to be pretty decent weather, 53 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, the Seahawks are obviously heavily favored as the 1 seed. The 49ers, they beat the Eagles 23-19 last week, and they won, but the catch is they lost George Kittle for the rest of the season, and I think that's going to really hurt them. I'm not saying they can't win because I feel like they totally could, because this is a divisional matchup. These two teams have played each other. They've went 1-1, so whoever wins this truly wins the division matchup for this season. And, you know, truly, I wouldn't be shocked if the 49ers pulled it off just because they've been such a gritty team this year, despite all the injuries that they've suffered. But I'm going to have to go with the Seahawks here. I think they're just too good of a team to lose this game. And I think Sam Darnold, I think he's going to play a lot better in these playoffs than he did for the Vikings, which is a big reason why you would even consider picking the 49ers. You know, because Sam Darnold, he is a wild card. I will say that. We don't really know how he's going to play. And, I mean, he could play bad. I personally don't think he's going to, just because I think he's in a way better situation this season than he was last year. But, yeah, I think the Seahawks are going to win, and I guess you could say they're going to cover the spread, because I have them winning by 7. But I don't even know if that would cover it or not. I don't know. But I have the Seahawks winning this one 20-13. All right, next up for Sunday, we have the Texans taking on the Patriots. And this one, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be 37 degrees Fahrenheit. It looks like it's going to be snowing, which is interesting because it's not below 32. And the Texans and Patriots, they obviously both won on wild card. The Patriots beat the Chargers on Sunday night in a defensive battle, and the Texans beat the Steelers on Monday night with 2 defensive touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They had a big fourth quarter, and their defense, it's very legit, and I think they could honestly drag that team to the Super Bowl if they get lucky enough. And, you know, speaking of luck, I'll get to that curse wheel I was just talking about. Yeah, curse the Patriots. And if you know anything about me, if you've watched my channel, I usually don't go against the curse wheel unless it's something like ridiculous. And honestly, I think the Texans are going to win. I think they're going to, have a really great defensive showing like they did last week against the Steelers. And I mean, I will acknowledge the Patriots offense is a lot better than the Steelers offenses, or could ever dream of being, honestly. But I think despite the fact that CJ Stroud played a really bad game, he had 5 fumbles and lost 2 of them. That's pretty bad. And they still won 30-6. So that just kind of goes to show how much margin of error the Texans offense has. And I think if they can get just a couple of turnovers on the Patriots, or even just a couple of key stops, I think that's going to be enough to beat the Patriots, because the Patriots, they won, but their offense kind of struggled against the Chargers, and their defense is good too, but the Texans is even better. So I couldn't imagine the Patriots are able to light up the Texans or anything like that. I could be wrong, but I just think the Texans are going to win 17-10, and I mean, the curse wheel might have a thing or two to do with that, but yeah, I think it just makes sense. I think the curse wheel might be onto something, and I'm going to pick the Texans. And ending the video, we have the coldest game of the week, and it's the Rams taking on the Bears. Both of these teams having close victories in Wild Card Weekend. They both looked pretty sketchy. The Rams almost lost to the Panthers, but they were able to hang on, and the Bears were down by 18 points going into halftime, and they were able to crawl their way back and beat the Packers. Sometimes it's better be lucky than good, and I think the Bears know that more than anybody because they've had a lot of close victories, and we'll see if they can get another one, because the Rams are no slouch. They are a very good team, and they have kind of been a little off ever since they lost that game to the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. But I'm not gonna say they're a bad team. They are a great team. I mean, you can't really deny how good of a team they are. They're just in a really good division. I mean, 12-5 is usually more than enough to win your division, but they're just in one of the toughest divisions in football. So, just kind of is what it is. But I still think they can beat anybody. And, this game could go either way. I think it's going to be a really fun game. I think it's going to be a lot of points scored. And I'm going to go with the Rams just because I think they're a more complete offense. And the Bears' offense is very good, obviously. I think they're just kind of a little too weak of an opponent to hang with the Rams in the playoffs when it matters. I mean, I guess the Rams did almost lose to the Panthers in the playoffs, so you never know. But I'm going to go with the Rams just because I think they're a better team, and I think Stafford is playing a lot better than Caleb Williams. Not that Caleb's playing bad, but I think Stafford's just playing on another level. And I'm going to say the Rams, I guess, cover the spread because it's plus 3.5 for the Bears, and I have them winning by 4. So I have the score being 27-23. And there you have it. Obviously, it's a pretty short video because there's only 4 games, and you can only say so much for each game. But yeah, the Broncos, I think their defense is going to do enough to keep Josh Allen in check. I think the Seahawks are going to do the same thing to the 49ers because they're just too injured to hang with them, in my opinion. I think the Texans defense is going to keep the Patriots in check and win a very low-scoring game. And I think the Rams are going to be able to win a shootout against the Chicago Bears because I think that game is going to be the highest scoring just because I don't think either defense is that great. I mean, the Rams defense is pretty solid, but they're not like a top 5 defense or anything. But the Texans, Seahawks, and Broncos are literally all top 5 defenses. So it's like, it's not even a knock on the Rams. It's just like of how it just shows how good the rest of the teams that I have winning are when it comes to defense. Because the Rams have the best offense, in my opinion, in the entire playoffs, to be completely honest. Hence why I think it's okay that their defense is not up there with Broncos, Seahawks, and Texans. And, thing about the Broncos and Texans is their offenses aren't really that great either. But, their defenses are good enough to keep them in games. And I think the Seahawks, in my opinion, are the most scary team because their defense is really good and their offense, despite being a little inconsistent, kind of like the Broncos, they can really put on a show. They have Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker, Sam Darnold can, if he can just not lose the Seahawks the game, I think they are my Super Bowl favorite right now. And it's going to be a really fun divisional round, and I guess I'll see you guys for my championship round power rankings, because that's usually the next video up. And if you're still listening to me ramble, I appreciate you for sticking around, and go ahead and get this put on YouTube so you guys can watch it, and I'll see y'all later.